Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. It's kind of warm today. It's been -2, -3 during the past couple of weeks. And now it's +9. So it's like summertime in the middle of the winter. Hope things are working out for you. You're sorting out things. You're getting over your anxieties and a fear of what's going to be after this breakup and all that, so forth. So I want to share with you a little bit about on this, how our psyche and thoughts play a role in how we feel after these sort of things. So first thing I want to talk to you about is how we've been conditioned to live life physically since we're born. We talk about that a little bit, and then I would like to touch on the idea of the concept of energy, and why is it that you feel so unbalanced or unfamiliar to the new situation after your breakup. And then we will be talking a little bit about that's the part I forgot. Maybe I'll remember while I'm talking. So we'll start and we'll just see what happens. I hope I remember. There were 3 things. So let's talk about how we are conditioned since our childhood to only live life and experience life physically. As you know, our entity, what we are, is in 2 parts, mind and body. While there's no dividing line between mind and body, but we seem to think that we are just a physical body because we have learned to experience life with what we see, what we feel, and not so much been trained or conditioned or introduced to the idea of how the inner energy and the psyche actually is part of who we are, which completes our existence, our entity on this life. And nobody teaches us or taught us, or in schools or in regular socializing and how it is in the world, about our other part, which has a great influence to how we live, how we think, and how we function, which is our key, our energy, and our connection to the universe. And in fact, our energy can only experience certain things in this life through our physical body. But in fact, all it is our mind that is doing the living, but our body is the apparatus or the utility that helps it to experience certain things. For example, layman thinks tongue tastes the food and legs walk. But in fact, mind tastes the food through tongue, and mind walks through manipulation of the legs. Since we are not aware of this automatic thing happening, we think everything in our life is physical, and we're accustomed to think we miss something because we can't experience that anymore if it's not physically for us possible to see it or experience it. And because we only believe what we see and what we know, after the breakup, you don't see what's in the works for you in the near future, and you have no idea to believe and to know that something is coming, because all you believe is what you have accumulated in your consciousness. And the limits of the field that you have created in your consciousness, which we call it field of the known, the limits of that is what you think the world is all about. And so whatever you can think in here, you think that's what it can or cannot be in life. And since you have no knowledge or experience or information, a memory file in your consciousness after the breakup, that something else might happen, you don't have that in the forefront of your memory and your information, your consciousness, you don't believe that anything good can come off of this. And you think that's the end of it, it's final. What am I going to do now? You jump into anxiety and worry about it. And since you cannot see it, because it hasn't happened yet, you then think there's never going to be anything for you to believe that there's going to be a future, because we believe what we know and what we see. Since our knowledge, the know-how in the field of the known, in our consciousness, is limited to what we have already experienced and know, and we don't know anything about what the future will bring, we think what we're going through is all there is and that's the final, and then we panic. So we need to focus on the fact that we are conditioned to think that everything that we can feel good about is only what we see and what we can experience physically and call it pleasure. So we are programmed to seek pleasure, and most pleasures that we know of in the regular life and regular community societies are physical. So we have no knowledge of that the pleasure and experience of life could be more than physical. So we are focused totally on this relationship that is physical, intimacy physical, touching physical, going on date physical, making love physical, sex, of course, same as making love physical, sports physical, enjoyment of a movie visual, so pretty much has to do with our physical abilities in a way. But everything, every pleasure that we are accustomed to or learned that we should pursue, which we are programmed to pursue pleasure, that's our instinct and conditioning, is all based on physical. So when a physical relationship being physical, when we lose that, we think there is no other way that we can be pleased or enjoy life or experience life, because the pleasure, that physical pleasure, is now done, is limited, is now gone, it doesn't exist. So we think, because of what I explained, no more pleasure will come, and if we are not in contact with physical pleasure, then our life is over, rather than thinking that there's so much more pleasure of non-sexual and non-relationship type in the world, in our life, until we again encounter such relationships. So that's one thing, that we're totally focused on physical pleasures, and that is why we get so hung up and excited or impatient when we lose it, because we think life is explained in physical pleasures, and if we don't have it, life is over, so we panic. But lo and behold, life is not over just because the physical pleasures are not there for a while. There are all kinds of physical pleasures that you can focus on, and lots of mental pleasures. The second topic that I wanted to talk about was about energy. You know how it feels when you were in school and you'd go to the new class, finished last year, now it's a new year starting. You go to the new classroom and everything is new. You're not used to it. You've never been in that classroom. I don't feel comfortable. It's kind of unbalanced. Or if you get a new house or a new apartment, if you're at the age that you rent a new apartment or buy a new place, or if you're living with your parents, when your parents moved to a new place, everything was new. The walls were not talking to you, like you were not feeling the energy, any connection, any feeling to that new environment, until a few days passed, a few weeks passed. Then the classroom became a little bit more familiar. The new place that you were living, more familiar. Even if you had the bicycle, it was new, but it wasn't really feeling like the old bicycle that you had, until a while passes and you exchange interaction with that bicycle, exchange interaction and do things in that classroom, or you set up your things in the new home, new apartment. These are all part of interactions that are non-physical. Being creates and interchanges with the environment. And that's called, in a way, the energy exchange, the key that you put in that classroom, that you put in that house, that you put on your bike, in your car, everything. It suddenly becomes the extension of your energy, because you have now experience of exchange and interchange with that energy of that whole new thing. And with your partner, through your relationship, you've been doing this. Remember when you just met him or her, it was not that comfortable, it was just beginning, but then after a while, you guys became familiarized. Now, that is what the energy that makes you feel you're missing something now that is broken up. Because you now miss the old order, the old feeling, the old psychological security, the old familiarity. But it doesn't mean that what you just created with that person through time, through interaction of energy, cannot be created with another possibility in the future, near future. When you meet someone new, it's like you go into the new classroom, it's unfamiliar, but you get familiar and you don't even remember the old classroom anymore. Same thing, new relationship will happen. You exchange and interchange energy, and you become familiar, the key exchange, and again, you feel wonderful and comfortable, and you won't even remember the old relationship. So until that happens, believe that your existence is not just physical. The reason you feel physical pain is because the mental part connection is broken, and that can be reconnected through another opportunities in the coming future. So lo and behold, and relax, you'll all be okay. Now, the third thing that I wanted to talk to you, which I told you I don't remember, I still don't remember. So it was that, and it was that. So perhaps in another video I can think of it. So in the meantime, just remember that you should not start believing what your mind conjures up after your breakup. You feel like something has gone wrong, and therefore you go to the end of the consequences of it, and you start paying the consequences of it. You become fearful of being alone and things not going right, and you start you start reacting to what your thoughts have conjured up, which is limited to what you can see or imagine, and you have no knowledge of what it could be, but you decide that this is final. And then you start panicking and reacting to it because you believe your thoughts. And this was the third thing I wanted to talk about. Your thoughts, just because it happens inside you, doesn't mean, just because it comes from you, doesn't mean it has credibility. Doesn't mean you have to believe it. Your thoughts are stupid. Your thoughts are just created out of nowhere often, and you have nothing to do with them. And it does not mean that's how it's going to be. Your thoughts are limited to the content of your consciousness. So what you think, there's no reason for you to believe it. Whatever you believe it's going to be, it most often will not be, because you don't know what the future holds and the variables in it. So stop believing your thoughts just because you thought of it, and be hopeful and believe in the way of the universe, the movement of the energy, and the exchange and interchange, and things that change every moment, every second. And this too will change, and you will just be fine. You'll move on and be strong, confident, and happy again. On that note, think about what I just said. Have a wonderful day or evening, and talk to you soon.